Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 87 of Relentless Talk Radio. I'm super excited about this conversation today. I wanted to give you kind of a little bit of a heads up about the topic, as I always do in the Relentless Food for Thought topic section, which is always segment one. So I'll be talking with David Bravo of Premier Martial Arts and Justin Queel, an artist. So two kinds of artists. One's a martial artist and one's a regular artist, a painter. A mural painter, a public artist. So when I thought of the two of them together, I thought the thing they most have in common is that they're both warriors for different reasons, right? So Justin is an artist and has had to really kind of like fight to get his work out there in the way that makes sense to him. And David, martial artist, where he teaches defense class, both from a martial arts standpoint and also a safety business and a gun teaching business. So the two of them really are warriors, literally. And so I got to thinking about constant improvement. And so those of you who know me know that I am a big believer in personal development. I don't believe it ever stops. I think that we have to continue to personally develop throughout our life. It's just part of the do, and I think there's some lessons we have to relearn. I've just recently been relearning a huge lesson that I thought I had learned. I don't know. I thought I had completed the lesson of this particular thing about 3 years ago, but I realized that I still had things to learn. So I've just relearned a huge lesson in my life. And I don't know about you, but to relearn lessons that you've already learned is super painful. It's painful and it's expensive emotionally, physically, financially, just in every way it's expensive. So I've really been thinking about the idea of continuous improvement, especially as it relates to my own personal development and how that relates to my business, And so, of course, I had to Google constant improvement because, that's what I do. And the Japanese call it Kaizen. I'm probably mispronouncing it. And basically, it's the idea of you're changing for the better. God, we'd hope that, right? We'd hope that we'd be changing for the better. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we change for the worse. But, I think that if you're continue to be committed to yourself, you really do want to change for the better. So this idea of, and I took notes because of course, and I have to put my glasses on because, I'm 52 and I'm blind. So the psychologist he actually was an engineer and his name is Edwards Deming. He created a thing called the Deming Cycle. And basically what it focuses on is planning, doing, checking, and acting. And this was basically started by an American that was implemented for Toyota in Japan and then was implemented by Ford here in this country. And this idea of continuous improvement really does come from the car industry, which is interesting to me. So the first thing that warriors do is they plan, you make a plan on what you're going to do. So right now I've got a challenge that I'm doing called the Relentless Reset Challenge. And the whole part of the challenge, this whole month that we'll be doing the challenge, and you can look at the link after this, you can either search for it or you can look at the link for Relentless Reset Challenge. It's all about creating consistency. And so when I thought about planning, the first thing that I think it takes to make a plan is to be consistent so you can define your objectives and to start yourself into a regular practice of anything. So consistency in defining your objectives and defining your roles is super important in the first part of continuous improvement. So making your plan. The second thing is to execute. So once you've made a plan and you have an idea, then you actually have to do it. And sometimes people just plan and plan and plan and never do it. I know you guys aren't those people, but sometimes people plan and plan and plan and plan and say, we're going to go to the beach, we're going to go to the beach, we're going to go to the beach, and then never go to the beach, right? So I don't know, I've been saying I needed to go to the beach for about a year now. And so I went this weekend. It was awesome. And it really made me think about execution. It's one thing to say you're going to do something. It's another thing to actually do it. So make your plan and do your plan. Now, once you've done your plan for a while, you need to take a look at it and kind of check to see if you're successful. You have to monitor it. You have to take a look and see what the outcome is. So, you make a plan, you go do it. Did it work the way you wanted it to or not? And did it work better than you thought? Did you have unexpected pluses and unexpected negatives? You have to really take a look at what happens when you make a plan and check yourself. And then after you've checked it, you need to correct it and reevaluate. So the idea of correction, I know we hate that. We hate correcting stuff. We do. We want to plan, we want to do it and have it just be perfect. And that's just not the way it goes. And in fact, things change all the time. You may have gotten into a business or gotten into a job or gotten into a relationship with certain ideas about how things are going to go. And in the process of doing, your plans change. And you have to take a look, reevaluate, step back, look at things differently and make a decision about which way to go next. So plan, do, check, act. So basically you're defining your objectives, you're doing the do, and then you're monitoring it, and then you're improving it over and over and over and over. That's what Six Sigma is built on. Jack Welch from GE, about doing something, testing it, improving it, doing it, testing it, improving it, just over and over and over. And Dave Bravo is saying that it never goes as planned. And you know what? You're right. It actually doesn't, because when we're talking about things in our mind, it always is going to be different when you actually execute it. So talking about things and doing things are two separate things. So you're absolutely right about that, Dave. I can't wait to talk to you about this process. So the idea of, okay, let me go back to, oops. One of these days I'm going to have an admin that's going to work the controls for me. So the other thing that I noticed is number 5 on this list of 10 things is that improvements are usually small. I think when we plan something and we do it, we think that, okay, we're going to make this mad dash improvement and it's going to be, just this huge overall improvement, right? And that's not usually the way it goes. And that's right. My cousin in Vermont is talking about my cousin Barry, who was part of GE, and he lived the Six Sigma life. And she is so blessed to have a Six Sigma husband because her house actually runs really well. But of course, it's probably more for Lisa than it is for Barry, but she's laughing right now. She's in Vermont. So the idea of that you're going to make these massive improvements and things are going to massively change. Usually when you're practicing this way of continuous improvement, you're making a small adjustment. Not only is it better to make small adjustments as far as massive overhauls are very expensive. So when you make a small adjustment, it's more cost effective and it's less taxing emotionally on yourself and your team members. So when you're testing and you're doing this cycle, you want to make sure that you're making improvements in an incremental way and not just changing everything all at once, because that's really not going to get you to the answer. That's going to get you to a different problem. So making small improvements. Number 6 is that ideas are valuable and be open to ideas. So whenever what my superpower is collaborative marketing. That's what I do well. Okay. I love getting people together and collaborating to market a multitude of services and have people not even realize that we're marketing. I mean, Relentless Talk Radio is all about shouting out the good news about other businesses and about, just getting people to collaborate in a different type of way, right? So when you're working with people in that kind of way, you have to be completely open to other people's ideas. And some people have a hard time with that. They just want their idea. And, if you're really practicing continuous improvement, you're really open to your customers' ideas, you're open to your family and friends' ideas, and you're open to your collaborative partners and the employees that you're working with, you're really open to all different kinds of ideas, okay? Number 7 is that you don't miss the accidental lessons. Oh God, I just recently in this mistake that I made another mistake that I've made a lot in my life and have learned a lot of accidental lessons, right? A lot of like, oh God, I just stumbled upon it and there it is, right? And then there's also, making mistakes. There's good things come from mistakes. There's good things that get you to stretch so far beyond where you would have stretched otherwise had things gone the way you want. Actually, it can end up being much better because you did make the mistake. So being open for the accidents to actually lead you to a better solution is very painful, but sometimes it's just the way it goes, So number 8 is take ownership and accountability. Suck it up and know what's yours to do and what's your fault. What did you sign up for? Did you make a mistake? Did you drop something that you shouldn't have dropped? Did you reach beyond your reach? Did you have a higher opinion of a colleague or a partner's skill set and did you screw up? If you said, own it. Own it quick. Because one of the things I learned when I was getting sober is that the quicker I could own my mistakes was the quicker I was free. And I think that way in life. The quicker you can say, you know what, I did it again. I screwed up. Or the quicker you can say, oh, didn't see that coming. Sorry, that was an accidental mistake. And it's on me. I dropped the ball. The sooner you can own that shit, the better. And it's a hard thing to do, but it's really important to do that. Number 9 is duplication and delegation. So I just recently hired a new admin to help me with some of the things that I really shouldn't be doing at this stage, like downloading my YouTube videos, and doing some types of administrative activities. And so I've just hired an admin and a bookkeeper this year. Delegation and duplication are king. So in my business and the health and fitness part of what I do, being able to create processes that are duplicatable and easily passed down is really key in continuous improvement. If you keep on having to reinvent the wheel and you're totally carrying all the weight yourself, you're not going to get very far. So you need to duplicate and you need to delegate. 2 things. Now 10, I know you're going to think I'm crazy for this one, but 10 is you got to celebrate. I think sometimes we're such grinders. We just grind, especially if you have an entrepreneurial tendency. You just grind. You keep on going, and keep on going. And you never stop to celebrate the small wins and the big wins. You can't wait until you get the big prize at the end of the rainbow, because the big prize at the end of the rainbow could take years and years and decades and years. And actually, quite frankly, you might not get to the end of the rainbow. You have to celebrate the small wins along the way. Or if not, your life just becomes a big trudge of doing. And you become a human doing as opposed to a human being. So make sure you celebrate. Make sure you figure out things that you can do in your life to celebrate the continual improvement process, okay? So just to recap, the 10 things that you need to do in order to continuously improve is 1, plan, 2, do, 3, check, 4, act, 5, make small improvements along the way that are affordable, 6, realize that ideas are valuable, 7, don't miss the accidental blessings, 8, take ownership and accountability and move forward. Take time to reflect. Super important. Number 9 is duplicate and delegate. And number 10 is to celebrate. So there are my 10 things that you should think about when you're thinking about continually improving. So I'm going to go get Dave Bravo. And then I'm going to go get Justin Quill. So segment 1 for Relentless Food for Thought is done. And coming up is segment 2 of episode 87 of Relentless Talk Radio. My story, guys, and I'm sticking to it. Come back. I'll be right back with David. Come right back.